Hello everybody, and welcome to Chris G Photography. I know it's a little bit weird with the ring light reflection in the window back there, but I really didn't plan on filming this video because what you're about to see is a kind of a retrospective of a picture that I did about matter of fact, almost 30 years ago to the day. But it occurred to me that at the moment when I was explaining and showing where I shot the photo, that I intended to give technical data on what I had done. And I did not. So I figured before we get going here, I wanted to let you know. The image was actually captured on a Nikon F3. I believe the lens I used was a 28mm 3.5. The film was Kodachrome 64. I don't recall the brand of tripod I used, probably not relevant. However, I do recall being very, very low to the ground. And being at the time I didn't have any experience in photography, didn't know that much. It was probably a situation where I focused at infinity, chose a very small aperture because all I knew probably at that time was a little aperture meant a lot of depth of field, and if I put the lens on infinity, then infinity meant everything was in focus. I didn't understand hyperfocal focusing at that moment. So yes, is it a perfect photo? No. You'll notice there's a little chunk of sky and the flowers in the very the very foreground are out of focus. But I guess the out of focus flowers don't matter that much to me right now. I just don't think it does. I actually did find another image that's very similar where I did realize that I had a piece of the sky in there and actually changed my camera angle slightly to get that out of there. So even though the print I showed you has a chunk of sky in the top right corner, I have images that I'll actually put on the website that do not. So just wanted to give you a little bit of technical data before I actually put the video on. So enjoy. It's not a great video, unfortunately. The gimbal died, the sound isn't great, but nonetheless, it was a really cool morning trying to find where I shot this picture almost 30 years ago. I hope you enjoy.
Good morning, excuse me. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chris G Photography. I'd like to welcome you back to Chris G Photography, but I'm sure you've never been to my YouTube channel. As I get back into photography after a 15-year layoff, I wanted to revisit some of my old stomping grounds where, in this case, my photography career and journey really began. It is one of the first days after the COVID-19 crisis that Rocky Mountain National Park is open. And like I did in the past, I began my journey early to get here at first light. I didn't quite start that early, but couldn't get up and get going that early because this morning I have the privilege of having my wife, photo assistant Jenny, aka B-Roll Girl, along for the journey, and I thought on a Saturday morning it might be best to let her sleep in for a little while. But I really want to tell you a story about what I want to show you and where I'm taking you. It's probably the first time that I recall having a vision, taking a picture, and making it come to fruition. The first time that I opened up a box of slides, laid the pictures out on the light box, looped them, and realized, yes, this is something different and something special. So I was probably around, I want to say I was 17 years old. It's very late 80s, early 90s. It was June and it was raining like today. And I had a specific spot in mind that I wanted to go. And so I drove up. It was probably in my brown Datsun 280ZX. I don't recall if my father was with me or not, but I do remember specifically driving to a specific spot, seeing what I liked, and starting to photograph the scene. I also remember after I was done photographing that specific situation, there was a large bull elk in the area, and I walked around for a while photographing him as he walked around the meadow, enjoying the morning, eating the spring grass. And like I said, this was probably the first time ever I set up, shot the scene, and got back what I wanted. It was one of the first visions that I had. It was really made me understand that I could do this, and that I really wanted to do this. And so, in just a couple of minutes, we're going to arrive at this location. I hope I don't disappoint anybody, because quite honestly, this is not going to require a long hike. It's not deep in the woods. It's quite honestly next to a parking lot. And so I hope that doesn't ruin this situation for anybody. But I want to show you where I was and what I was thinking. So give me a couple of minutes to get to my destination, and then we will resume our talk. Thank you. Jenny and I are going a little native at the moment. The gimbal died. Thought it was fully charged up, but I don't think it was. Now, we've been searching this area for the better part of over an hour, and haven't been able to find the scene I was looking for, because this area has drastically changed. But this has nonetheless been a magical moment. Check this out. The thing of it is that herd of bull elk Jenny was photographing just a few minutes ago, and she was no more than about 30 feet away. They're getting closer to where all the people are, so they're moving a little bit more hasty, but what a magical morning nonetheless.
Vamos a subir Chris encima.
My camera stayed in the bag. Jenny used her cell phone quite a bit. But again, nonetheless, what a magical moment. That's why I've done this for a very long time, is for moments like this. It's not necessarily the images you capture. It's sometimes the experiences you have, and now that I'm able to experience those with my wife, whereas before she was doing the mom thing and I was out doing the photography thing. But now it's time to show you what I brought you all here to show you. The scene has changed, but let's take a look at what I took, where I think I took it, almost 30 years ago to the day. So after almost well over an hour of looking, Jenny and I think we found the spot. This area has changed vastly over the last 30 years. But in this spot, 30 years ago, was the first time I ever had a vision, ever saw something, ever, in my opinion, this is probably the first picture I took, the first good one. In this spot that has changed so much, but still remains so magical. I think this tree is this one right here. The background is very similar. And what's really eerie to me is right over there, there's a herd of
a group of, looks like 5 bull elk. That morning after I got done taking this picture in the rain, I followed a bull elk around what was then a lake that was right over there. You could tell you did something a long time ago when there's been a geologic change where there was a lake is now just a stream. So this is the beginning of my journey, but I hope it's not the end. But for now, I'm Chris.
I'm Jen.
And you are, and this is Chris G Photography. Thank you.